Hey guys, most of you know me and most of you don't, but, the past, I don't know how long I've been crying because of something that happened a couple of years ago. My little brother died. My little brother was named Andrew Olvera Hastings, and he was my world. I didn't have a childhood because I was stuck inside taking care of him. My mom works nights, so I took care of him during the day. I fed him, I watered, gave him something to drink. To me, babysitting a normal kid that has no disabilities is easy because my brother, he was lactose intolerant and he was gluten-free diet. He couldn't have bread and he couldn't have milk. So he basically lived off of meat and vegetables. And his favorite thing in the world to eat was peanut butter jelly sandwiches. And it broke my heart to tell him he can't have that. I remember the day so clear around the time it happened. He collapsed. I was on a bowling league when I was like 14, and it was bowling day. We were over at our cousin's, and he was playing around with their kids, being himself, joyful, happy. And then when he came home, he drinks bottle after bottle of water. He loved water more than anything, to be honest. I don't see how he can do it. And then he collapsed. We have this medicine that he had to chew, and it would help, but he was unconscious. There was no way for him to ever take it. So we called the ambulance. He stayed at the hospital for 4 days. I stayed with my cousins. I only cried once, when everyone was asleep. I told everyone he's gonna make it, because he's been through so many surgeries. He's been to so many hospitals because of his disabilities, and he's always bounced back. He did it this time. I remember when my mom was on the phone and telling me and my cousin he's not coming home. I was getting something from the fridge, and I went limp. I was on the floor crying my eyes out. Because the only thing I knew was Andrew. I didn't grow up with friends. I never talked to anyone. Because I had Andrew. When you cried, he would comfort you. When you were upset, he would make you laugh to make you feel better. He had the cutest smile in the whole world. He was special. And he couldn't talk. He could barely walk himself. Most days, if you're gonna walk, like, for a long time, like at the store or something, he had to use a walker. My favorite thing about him was his smile. It was the one thing that could always cheer me up. Before he passed, I was never depressed. I was never suicidal because I couldn't afford to. I couldn't afford to go out and hang out with some friends for a couple hours. I couldn't. Every day after school, I would go over to his school and wait for my mom. And then we'd go home. she would go to work and I would stay home with him. Put him to bed, feed him vegetables. I would play with him, give him piggyback rides. And when I would stop moving, he would pull my hair and whine, and it was the most adorable thing. He was my best friend. He was the only friend I needed. My mom, she worked nights, so on the weekends, she would come home and sleep, and sleep, and sleep, and I would take care of him. I don't regret it. And I would never blame him for never having a childhood. I would never, ever blame him for anything. I would do it all over again. I really would. I'm not a church person. I don't believe in God. I know there is a God, and if you believe in God, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you. I don't believe in God because everyone thinks that he's all this powerful being. But he took the one thing that made me truly happy away from me. And I don't know what to do. I tried going to church. I can't do it. I can't get into it. I've never truly been happy. Not since 2013. I think it was actually 2011. I don't even remember when his death was. I don't remember what he looks like. Half the time I wake up and Andrew is just a name. It really is. After his death, I became suicidal and depressed. I tried to kill myself. I tried to stab myself. I've OD'd. I've almost OD'd. I remember taking almost every pill that I was ever forced to take. Well, not forced. I mean, I did it voluntarily, but like I was prescribed. And then I remember my mom asking me what the hell happened to all my medicine. And the next thing I know, I wake up in an ambulance being asked, what did I take? And I keep telling them, nothing. I remember in the hospital, without my eyes open, I don't remember seeing anything. I just remember hearing it. I hear the doctor ask my mom if she told me to go die. And she admits she did. And she really did. But I told him I wasn't trying to kill myself. The one part of the hospital that I remember is packing my stuff. I remember having an IV stuck in top of my hand. And yes, it does hurt. I broke when Andrew died. When Andrew was born, so was my heart. He was my heart. He had my heart in the palm of his hand, and he could have literally done anything with it, but you know what he did? He loved it. He loved it more than my own family did. He was everything to me. And when he died, so did my heart. So did I. I didn't know what to do with my life. Every day after school, I would go home to an empty place. Not for long, for a couple hours. Instead of coming home to a little brother. I remember being downstairs and hearing my mom in the shower crying. I remember her being in his old room crying. Andrew was the most special person anyone could ever be friends with. And the people who know him would agree. He could brighten up the room. He was a diamond shining brighter than the brightest star in the universe. I never truly been happy. I've never been as happy as I was before his death. Never. And I know you could say I never think I would, but I think I found someone who actually makes me that happy. I'm not going to say names because if I did, everyone would probably kill me. And he would too. But he has the cutest smile, brightest eyes I've ever seen. He makes fun of my size because I'm only 5 feet and he's 6 feet. And he's like 2 feet taller than me. But Andrew, he had something that I never had. And I used to think I'll never have what he had. The ability to always be smiling. I've never seen him in pain. His own pain. I've seen him once out of his 8 years be in pain from himself. Every other time you see him crying, it was because of someone else. Because someone else was crying or someone was hurting. Someone was upset. If you were upset, so was he. If you were crying, so was he. If you were mad, I would say so would he. But he didn't have the ability to be mad. He didn't. It was like mad was not in his emotional vocabulary at all. And the guy I'm seeing right now, he makes me laugh. Like Andrew did. But not the same way. Not the, oh, he's my little brother, he's adorable. The kind of laugh that makes me wish and miss laughing. A true laugh, not a, oh, you're funny laugh. It was more like love laugh. And he takes my breath away. I can barely breathe when I'm around him. I have to take deep, slow breaths just to try to calm my heart down, to calm my own breathing. And right now, every year gets harder without Andrew. It does. There's no replacing Andrew. And the guy I'm seeing, everyone sees him one way, but I don't see him that way. I see him as himself. And I never will see him a different way. Maybe in the future when you find that person out, you'll understand. For the ones who watch this and actually know the person, and know me, and know my family, and know Andrew. Andrew's a person you would want to be friends with. And you would never regret it. And you would... Everyone loved him. But no one loved him more than I did. There's this place called J.D. McCartney in Norman, Oklahoma, in the Oklahoma City district. Every year, every summer, he would go down there, and it helps disabled kids, whether they can talk or not, whether they can walk or not. Doesn't matter what kind of disabled kids there is. It helps. They would help try to help him learn how to dress himself, feed himself, and all that kind of stuff. And every summer, I would sleep in his bed instead of my own because I missed him so much, because It was the closest I could be to him. My mom would yell at me to stop, but there was no stopping me. Because Andrew was part of me. And when he died, so did I. And I never thought I could be alive again. Never. There's still days I wake up not wanting to get out of bed. And I just want to stay in bed. And this is getting really long. It's like 15 minutes and 49 seconds already. And everyone says I should do counseling. But counselors just make me feel like crap at the end of the session. And I don't like it. I go to tell you my problems, but yet you make me feel like crap even more than I did when I walked in the first time. So I quit counseling. It wasn't helping me at all. To me, talking about my problems and reliving the pain is useless. It doesn't help you get over it. It just makes you feel it all over again. Why put yourself through that? Why put yourself through the same pain every week? Why? So I stopped. There's only a few things that can make me cry. Rika, one of my goats I used to show, and what I did to her, and what it did to me, and Andrew. And that's it. My grandpa's death, who died a couple years later. Can't make me cry when I think about it, and I don't really remember those days as well as I do with Andrew. Some days I feel him standing next to me and I can't even see him. And everyone's like, you heartless, you don't love your little brother because you didn't cry at his funeral. To me, the funeral is the last day that person who is dead is on the earth. In spiritual form, of course. But he can still see our reaction. And to me, I'd rather have that person not see everyone crying. I believe they should be able to see someone at least not cry, but at the same time have that look of remembrance on them. It's kind of like when your boyfriend is going off to college and you have one more year. You would have graduated with him, but you failed and you got held back or something. Or you guys stay in town for just a little while and your boyfriend's going off to college. It just makes it harder to say goodbye when they see you cry. It's a lot easier to do it when you're not crying. But that doesn't mean you don't love them. It doesn't mean that you don't care. It just means that you will remember. So for the ones who do know Andrew, whether it was his art teacher, his music teacher, his classroom teacher, whether it was all the kids he played with for our kids' baseball, t-ball group. Remember Andrew, and remember how special he was, and how he could light. He was brighter than the sun. There is no replacing him. And that wound in my heart will never close. Thank you guys for attempting to watch all 20 minutes of this video.